The importance of social protection, particularly during major humanitarian crises, cannot be more emphasized. A recent ILO study points that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, 1.6 billion workers in the informal economy, which is nearly half of the global workforce, stand in immediate danger of losing their livelihoods. The same study also points out that 55% of the world population are not covered by any form of social protection. So the COVID-19 will have devastating impact on large sections of the population, particularly the most vulnerable. COVID-19 is definitely a wake-up call for us to strengthen social protection systems as set out in the United Nations Agenda 2030. UNDP is a key player in supporting governments in designing and implementing social protection programs and projects. UNDP addresses social protection from an equity perspective to simultaneously address drivers of exclusion and deprivation. UNDP's comparative advantage is its ability to address social protection at a cross-sectoral level compared to the sectoral focus of the other UN agencies. This reflection paper identifies 6 lessons from evaluating UNDP's past social protection support, with a particular focus on restoration and enhancement of social protection systems during and after crises. We primarily looked for support to social protection policy, social safety net programs and tools, and innovative approaches. Let me highlight a couple of lessons from the reflections paper. Although it seems a no-brainer, a lesson worth reminding ourselves amid COVID-19 pandemic is that strengthening social protection policies contributes to effective crisis response. Countries with social protection policies enabled other governments in developing well-targeted, context-specific measures during the crisis. Also, embedding social protection measures in poverty reduction and disaster risk reduction strategies enabled long-term resilience and adaptive capacity. For example, in Gambia, Tanzania, Belize, Egypt, Mauritius, social protection policies promoted improved social safety nets. For example, in Mauritius, strongly embedded social protection policies facilitated budget allocation and minimized ad hoc responses during crises, including COVID-19 response. The other lesson is that targeting vulnerable sectors, particularly those that generate employment, yields positive dividends for social protection efforts. A faraway example that still has relevance to the present-day COVID-19 response is the Indian Ocean tsunami. Tsunami severely impacted tourism in Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia, with significant consequences for jobs and livelihoods in the aftermath. There were targeted measures such as economic packages and incentives to revive tourism sector, to save jobs and protect livelihoods. A key lesson I wish to also point out is the importance of private sector investments in advancing social protection initiatives. UNDP country program experience demonstrates that government measures alone cannot sustain social protection measures, and private sector contributions are critical. Private sector and social protection are complementary but have to be harnessed systematically. For example, private sector insurance can complement government efforts in the area. Employment generation and strengthening livelihoods infrastructure are areas where private sector participation is shown to have considerable potential. I would like to conclude that effective social protection and social safety networks are central to COVID-19 crisis response.